All right, let's see. We have the camera back. We have sound that's hopefully not messed up anymore. I should have filled my water, which I didn't, so I'm gonna go fill my water, BRB. Okay. Try to bail right away. I got something to drink now. Actually, grabbed coffee as well. Yes. Okay. OBS has sound. OBS. This says we're live. This says we're live. Okay. So popping back on for a bit just to test out the OBS mostly. So I'll go back and watch the stream and see how it's going. But if anyone happens to be around, then good morning to you, and thanks for tuning in. So I am just going to jump in right where I was trying to work a bit yesterday, which was on some library stuff, a couple PRs that are in. The first one was portal based. I didn't really get much into it before I realized that the sound was basically unbearable, which reminds me I should check in actually on the live sound right now. I think it should be fine because I've done some test recordings. Check. I can't hear it. Yeah, okay. So this library portal base, we're going to look at this PR, we're going to test it out. I'm actually just stalling so I can hear myself on the YouTube stream. Okay, that sounds fine. We should be good to go. I have learned, this back down, I have learned some things about OBS. I don't really know, I never really did figure out all the way, I guess, what was wrong with the sound, but the thing that fixed it, I guess, ultimately was I unplugged the microphone on both ends and plugged it back in on both ends and rebooted and restarted OBS and did a bunch of stuff like that. And then the camera, I have figured out that there are multiple sources within different scenes in OBS, and it seems like only one of them is allowed to work at any given time, I guess, for the camera. But somehow I ended up with two, so like sometimes one works and then the others don't, which was my problem yesterday, it turns out. One that was on a scene I wasn't looking at actually was working, and I just didn't notice it. And then I copied that one and put it into the scenes to use and got all the filters fixed, and then today it was back to not working in the regular scene, but I had the intuition to click around to the other scenes first, and or sooner, I should say, and I realized that it was working again on another one of them. So basically, there's like multiple different sources for the camera, and only one can work at a given time. I need to go through and prune them down to one, and then copies of each other. But I'm not sure if the copies are really copies or what, just links, or I don't know. Anyway, onto the CircuitPython stuff. Portal base, this was a fix, or a new feature, I guess you could say, in addition of an existing feature to a new function. So basically this is, we already had max attempts on connect. That was already a thing that existed. Connect already will optionally accept the max attempts, and if you feed it a number, then it will try that many times, and it defaults to 10. But the thing is, there is a function called getLocalTime, which basically calls getSturfTime. Then there's this function getSturfTime, which ultimately calls connect, and originally that was not passing in max attempts at all. So the change in this PR makes it so that getSturfTime can accept, again, optionally, defaulting to 10, max attempts. If they are passed in, or if they're not passed in, it will use the 10, the default. Then it's gonna, either way, I should say, it's gonna pass that in to connect, so that connect will now actually have whatever attempts are specified here, rather than only defaulting to what the default in the connect declaration says, which is also 10. So they default to the same, but the difference is now, if you pass a number to getSturfTime, you can actually affect it, whereas before you were stuck on 10. You had no choice other than that. If you were calling getLocalTime, which was calling getSturfTime, which was not passing anything. So now those both accept that, and it's optional. They both default to 10, and they pass through whatever actually comes in, and that's the only change here. So I'm just going to do a quick kind of sanity check to make sure that this runs. I'll call getLocalTime, and we will kind of try to confirm that the retries are working how it's supposed to. We will need to copy this into the root, I'm pretty sure, because I'm pretty sure Portal Base is frozen. I don't have the other camera set up. I figured I should just kind of minimize the things and see if everything that I do try works before I go adding in the rest of the cameras and everything. So I don't have the top-down camera. There's not really going to be a whole lot to see. More stuff in there? I can't tell. Let's just take a backup one just in case. So is there a simple test in Portal Base? So Portal Base is a weird one where it's really not meant to be used directly. There is a simple test though. Okay. It's not really meant to be used this way. Oh, and in fact, actually, the simple test is calling PyPortal and not Portal Base. I think that's fine though, because what we'll do is we will basically be calling pyportal.network.getLocalTime, which is how we will test this. And then I'm going to check. I'm pretty sure this is frozen in, so I currently do not have Portal Base in my lib folder. I'm going to go to the terminal. I probably don't even have TO in here. TO. Okay, the fact that that succeeds means that it is definitely frozen in. So what we want to do is copy the library we're testing, which is not going to be from main. GetLocalTime, that's probably it, but let me just do this way. 103. Okay. We're up to date. That should have fetched, I think, so we should definitely be on the latest one. So now we want to copy that, but and then ordinarily we'd kind of be dropping that in lib most typically, but instead we want to put that actually on the root of CircuitPy. And actually, yeah, just to be super duper sure, I am gonna print something from here so that we're going to be able to just like absolutely know for a fact that this code is the code that is being run. No module PyPortal. So yeah, portal base is frozen in, but PyPortal is not. But that one we can install like normal. Right. So Circup, I didn't know the state of that. I actually did fix that. I'm surprised. I guess the version of Circup. So did that get, so I need to check if that got merged, then we can just install the newest one. But if it didn't get merged, then we'll need to. No. It is approved though. We could merge it, I guess. I think I'll wait. I don't necessarily want to merge it in case anything goes wrong afterwards. I don't know exactly how long I would be around today. It may not be the full kind of 2 hours, which is usually what I stream. So I don't think I want to do that, but I will just install that version, I guess, by going to here, should be here. I don't have the terminal prompty thing going. I used to use. Okay, so I am on support Pi. So what we want to do is install this into the virtual environment that I'm in. Actually just going to go pip uninstall circup to get rid of whatever we do have. Make sure that's going to install the right thing, yes. And then pip install dot, which means this directory, which is the directory the terminal's in, circup. And then because I'm on the branch where that's fixed, that means we're going to get the version where it's fixed. It means we can go all the way back to circup install. And that should actually work now. And give us PyPortal, plus a bunch of other stuff which PyPortal depends on, including it installed portal base. I'm just going to delete that one. It's not going to matter, but I think it's like easier to keep straight in my mind if I actually just go in here and delete this. So I never accidentally look in it and think it's the one that's like going to get used, because that one in lib will not get used on this device unless we were to reflash it with CircuitPython that didn't have a version or something. Okay, so we have this here. So we should be able to go back now here and see like this code try to run. Okay, perfect. We got to print this. Oh. I did not. Luckily, it didn't print anything crazy. I did not necessarily take into account it printing out the Wi-Fi details. Looks like it didn't do it though, so that's good. But it also looks like I don't have that stuff set, so I need to do that, which I obviously don't want to do on the stream. So we're going to bounce this over to here and go to settings toml. Yeah, I don't have anything in there. I don't actually know. I mean, I guess this error is telling me, is it? Yeah. This is terrible. I don't actually know toml. Is it, do you need quotes in toml, or? I mean, my editor looks like speaks toml, so it doesn't have an error, so I guess that's probably right. So you need quotes on the value, but not the variable name. Is that how toml works? I guess you don't need, maybe you don't need the quotes on the value. Maybe those are optional, or only if you have spaces or something. Actually, is it? Close this. I never did actually pull up all of the chats. Hopefully we don't have somebody. Huh. And we do. The time that I didn't pull it up. How's it going, Tithe? Let me... bad reception here, but stream is fine. Nice one. Nice one sorting it out. Yeah, thank you. And good day to you as well. Nice to see you today. Let's see here. Now I've actually got the chats pulled up. Also try to speak up. I feel myself trailing off here. Okay. That should be set now, so we should be able to run this. Hopefully it's still not gonna like print anything as far as the Wi-Fi like password. Yeah, it doesn't look like it, so that's good. Okay, so we're gonna connect to that. This is just simple test, which means it's gonna fetch this test page only a few minutes ago, so all good. Nice. Okay. So I didn't leave you hanging all this whole time. Okay, so that's good. So then get local time, and we're definitely using the changed one because we've got our little marker there. So we don't really need to use fetch. We don't really need to print this. We don't really need to do any of this. I do need to go feed this cat though, actually. This cat is asking for food, so BRB. Okay, let me out, buddy. Here we go. Okay. It's not going to be long before I was going to start getting chomped on if I didn't get that one fed. He went off for a nap before he ate this morning. It's a bit later than he normally eats. Okay, so we can just maybe print the pyportal.network. This is one reason I tell myself it's a good idea to have my Wi-Fi password as password. People assume it's... There you go. Nice. Let's see here. I should... Yeah. One thing to do would be to make a... which I should probably set up like a... maybe a separate network and a separate like browser profile and stuff like that for streaming. Would be a good way to do it, probably. I mean, network is a bit extreme, but I do have the stuff to be able to just have a separate network alongside of it. So network dot get network info? No, get local time. I don't even, those are just made up, I'm pretty sure. I don't think those exist. Pretty sure that should exist though. Okay. Yeah, it's actually, it is finding it. It's, I don't know if it knows exactly if that's the right thing, but it found it by its name at least. Let's try this. And then because I have a valid network, we know that it's a valid network because this just succeeded. It should just print the time, and it should only take one try. I mean, maybe it'll fail if we just get unlucky. Oh, you need AIO? Well, that's interesting. What is that? Username doesn't exist? I didn't look at the rest of the code, I guess. Does it uses AIO to get the time? I wonder if it could use, I mean, I guess it's in Portal Base. It could use just an NTP server or something though, right? Then 248. Getting time for time zone. Okay, I should set a time zone too, I guess. But yeah, it totally is. How come we didn't see this? Huh. That's weird. I mean, because that's the problem we have, but for whatever reason, whoops. For whatever reason, that's not the error we got. Well, I mean, he says for whatever reason. The reason is the logic that code flowed through didn't pass through this, but exactly why. It's 248 though. Get settings. So these must not be, I mean, these must not be raising a key error for some reason. Whatever get settings does. Do I have a secrets? No. I don't know. Anyway, let's not get too far off the path. That's maybe something worth looking into though, because I feel like it should have, like that error message there is the error message that that we should have seen, I think. Here. I'm gonna do this, I think. Let's just unplug this. Oh boy. Right? There's actually an S2. Alright, well, let's see here. 1 second. Let's get the secrets from this one. Settings. Okay. Back to here, we have full settings now, which should have AIO. It might be interesting to change that to use an NTP or something that doesn't require login. Okay, there we go. So we got the time correctly. Got the time correctly. Okay. And so in order to test this, what I would need to do is change, like, pass in max attempts here, or max retries, or whatever it's called. I think it was max attempts, right? Max attempts, yeah. We also, I will need to actually take this back over here for 1 second, because I also need to make the Wi-Fi fail, I guess. Is it gonna fail before it? I mean, it should fail connect, right? Should fail to connect to the Wi-Fi. What I don't know is it gonna, like, is it gonna go on though? Oh, and are we gonna have to wait for it to fail once with 10 retries here, and then wait again with 10 retries here? Or is it gonna just, is this gonna fail? Yeah, I'm not sure if we are in, I'm not sure where we're at here. I could see a world where this calls connect, but I don't actually know if that's the case or not. And if it is the case, then we may not be into here yet, and we may need to figure out a different way to make it fail. How could I make it fail? I guess I could change portal base to mess up the AIO URL. What are we on right here? We're looking at, we've done 6 fails so far. Seven. Those feel like longer than 3 seconds. Seconds are slow, I guess, though. Eight. I guess another thing I could do, I mean, it feels bad to be altering the portal base for testing the changes to portal base. I suppose theoretically we could go change this to a smaller time. Okay, it was in get local time, so that's good. At least we were testing the method that's being touched here. Okay, so we did get, so we know when we don't pass it, we get 10 attempts, which is good. That's what that's trying to do. Let's double check. Well, so we have this printed 9 times, but I think that that's because the last time, instead of printing it, it raised this error. We tried 10 times, we failed 10 times. We printed this 9 times, and on the last time, the 10th one, we raised this. Okay. And so with the old version of the library, you have no other choice in this situation. But with the new version, you can now max attempts. We could say 3. I don't know why it was red until I finished it. Especially because this... Oh, interesting. Get local time. So actually, wait. Is that in network? Hold on. Oh. We should, honestly, this PR should probably pass it through here as well. Right? So in my code, it wouldn't make a difference because I've done pyportal.network.getLocalTime because I thought that's what you had to do. It turns out there's actually a pyportal.getLocalTime as well. And this new change would not apply to it because this doesn't get passed through. I think that that is a change we would want, though. All that being said, I still don't know why it was red until I finished it, because it should have been finding the one on network, which it just listed there as having max attempts. Anyway, it doesn't matter, I guess. Okay, so let's try this. This one should only fail 3 times before it raises the OS error. All right, 2 failures. Should bail on this one. I guess the reason why it's feeling like longer than 3 seconds is we also are... Like, the retrying in 3 seconds is 3 seconds of sleep, but the actual attempt takes time as well. And it feels like actually the attempt is taking 2 to 3 seconds probably also. So we're actually ending up with around double or something. Maximum number of attempts. Okay, perfect. So that one failed after 3. And then because of that change that I just made in the base, we could actually do this as well, and it should behave the same way. Whereas without that change I made, this one would actually either raise an error because you gave it an argument it's not expecting, or not pass it through and therefore still take 10 attempts. I always get mixed up. I think it would raise an error, right? Isn't that how Python is? But JavaScript is different. JavaScript, you can just pass an unexpected argument, I think, and it gets ignored. Maybe I could be flipping them around, though. I don't know. All right, perfect. Okay, let's get that change back to the repo. That was, it's actually an init, but we could, I think we can just copy the whole thing back. Let's copy that and then back to here. Paste it right there. Overwrite. Did I save any clicks by changing to the all? Probably not. Maybe 1, I'm not sure. Let's see. Okay, so we don't want to do that. Oh, we don't want that. Hey. Okay, here we go. So inside of init, whoops. Inside of init, it now passes this through. Is there a get stirf time, or is that one only on network? Let's check that. If there is a get stirf time, is it stirf time? No, stirf. Does not seem to be a stirf time there. Let me just make sure. Stirf time. Yeah, definitely exists in this one. Okay, so we don't need that in the base. Contents are identical? Yeah, I guess so, because it's the only change I made was in init. I don't know why it's blue, though. Why is it blue? That part, I'm not sure about. Don't really like. Maybe it changed to the CH mod or whatever. I don't know. BRB. I'm going to run to the restroom. Okay. I'm betting that it is probably the CH mod. Probably being on the thumb drive, the CircuitPy drive, my computer must have done like a +X or a -X or a something like that is my guess. Would this tell me? It says modified. Is there a git? Can you do diff by file or something? I don't really use this all that much. Diff. Yeah, chmod changed. Old is 755. I'm just gonna change it back. Shows it as a difference though. But diff is okay. There we go. Guess that was just cached or something. Okay, and then I'll run pre-commit, which on my local one is using the newer pre-commit. And I will push. We'll commit. So add max temps arg2 base.get local time. That is the PR branch. We will let the checks run here. And then get this merged, I think, if the checks pass. So there were, I don't even remember what all the other ones I had pulled up yesterday were. I think there was a WizNet one. So I am less set up to test it, actually. We can impart the WizNet thing. Okay, so we used to go float, start time. We used to go T1, T2, private as ints, lease, private as ints. Now we go T1 timeout, T2 timeout, ints on 0, lease timeout instead of lease 0. We do still have T1 and T2 for none. And actually, we do still have lease as well on none. Although lease used to be on 0. Those are none now instead of zeros. But we have timeouts on zeros. Which I think is what they were saying. Lease T1, T2 are used both to store the time period and the time instant. It saves a few bytes, but it doesn't help readability. Okay, yeah, that does make sense. So one of them is going to be the current. So the way that it was getting used, I'm assuming originally it was storing a length of time and then somewhere along the way, it must have got changed to storing a instant in time, or maybe vice versa. Okay, so here, start time used to go time.monotonic. We do have a start ticks. It's interesting we had that we had both going. I thought the point of ticks was to not, I mean, I guess this is changing it now, so lease, and this is all inside of, oh, this is in DSM restart. I don't actually know what that means. DSM reset, I guess that's like DHCP stuff. Close the socket, set the attributes to default value used by state machine in its state. Resetting DHCP state machine. Okay, so that used to, during reset, it used to set the start time to the current time, which does feel a little bit awkward, right? If we're resetting, I mean, I guess would the start time be the current time? I feel like the start time would be, maybe we haven't started yet, have we? I don't know how this works, though. Maybe this starts after it's done. I feel like the start time should only get set when you start, whereas this is like almost more like a stop than a start. Anyway, lease got set to none, T1, T2 both got set to none in the new code. Inside of increment transaction ID. Oh, you know what? I wonder if this change is going to make it so that my wired network behaves a bit better. I've always had weirdness with my wired network in this library. And I've gone through different versions of weirdness with different microcontrollers at different times. And I also have two different things I can plug them into, so there's other variables as well. But it is, I remember looking into these transaction IDs and seeing what seemed like weirdness on my network at one point. So maybe this could have some effect for me. So it used to say tix add, tix diff, and these are getting set into T1 and T2. So tix add, the result of that would get put to T1, and then tix diff of tix add and the lease divided by 8. Wait, where is the closing? Oh, right. This is all old code. And I guess the answer is it was here, which used to be the next line after this. Okay. Yeah. So it used to have tix add, tix diff. Now it's going lease equals lease or 60. If lease is not set, then it's going to 60. Lease timeout, tix add, lease times 1000 to get it to milliseconds. T1 timeout, tix add. Start tix, T1 or lease over 2 times 1000. Lease over 2, I wonder why the over 2. I mean, I don't really know why. I mean, this was already doing over 2 here, I guess, though. Sure what that's about. Timeout, lease over 2. Is the timeouts half the lease time, I guess? Is that just hard-coded thing, maybe? In the spec or something? So T2 is going to be tix add, start, T2 or lease minus 1/8 of lease. So 7/8 of the lease. And then times 1000 to go to milliseconds. Used to have lease, tix add. It is interesting. The lease used to get set to tix add. Oh, right. Okay, so, but underscore lease, this changed into lease timeout. So this code, that line is basically this line. And then it changed from lease to lease timeout, and then underscore lease does still exist, but means a different thing now. It means a distinct thing, whereas before it was getting used for both, if I understand correctly. Okay, so we are into while true of the DHCP state machine. It used to say if the diff is less than 0, And now it says if ticks less, now timeout. Yeah, which I think ticks less, that's just like shorthand for the same thing, basically, right? And it wraps around or whatever. It helps you out with that, I think. Whoops. Google Finance. Yeah. Thanks. Can I just get my search term back on regular Google? No? Okay, thanks. Yes, but only because my browser has it. Okay, here we go. Docs. Ticks less. Turn true if the first argument is before the second argument and false otherwise, assuming that they are within 2 to the 28th. This thing did finish. I'm going to keep going through the code here because I think we're almost done, though. Okay, I see. So it used to be subtracting them and then testing the result against 0 to determine if one was bigger than the other, basically. And now it's using ticks less directly, which is directly just telling us is one less than the other without the need of, you know, doing the subtraction in our code with diff and without the need of comparison to 0 in our code. When I say our code, I mean the library code, the level that this is getting used at. So, and then let me see here. So that says return true if the first argument is before, i.e. less than, the second argument. And then ticks diff does what? Ticks diff, compute the sign difference between the two ticks. Ah, that's unfortunate. The signed difference. So I mean, like the assumption would be that it's ticks 1 minus ticks 2. But it would be nice, I think, if it spelled it out, I think, right? Wouldn't it be nice if it said there? Where's my TO? So like if it was like 10 and 4, it should be 6. Okay. First one minus the second one. So then the old code said now minus T1. And then it said, is that less than 0? So if now is bigger than T1, if now is after T1, then that's going to subtract and it's going to be positive. We are not going to go into that if statement. So if now is bigger, we are not going to go into the if statement in the old way. In the new way, returns true if the first one is before that second one. So if that is less than, then we are going to go in. If it's greater than, we are not going to go in. So yeah, logic should be the same there. And then this one is the same, but with lease, and they flipped the to greater than here, which means also the order of these are flipped to account for it. So in the old way, this one said current time minus lease, and then it said if that's greater than 0, so if now was less than lease, then that's going to come out to be true. So now it's been flopped around to say fix less. If hold on, am I backwards? So tix diff now minus lease, if now is smaller, then now minus lease should be greater than 0. Now is smaller, then that should be true. But the way that it's rewritten, it says if lease timeout is smaller, then it will be true. Am I confusing myself? I don't really need this stuff anymore. There's actually a PyPy thing in CircuitPython I could have used. Just ticks. Okay, so I'm just gonna now equals like 20, 30, okay, fine. Lease equals 50. So these two changed, but lease, maybe that's part of why this is backwards. So lease timeout is the variable that lease used to be at least part of the time. Old way true. Old way false. New way true. New way false. Okay. Works for me. I'm just confusing myself. I don't know. Well, okay, we should test the other one too, though. Okay. Yeah. I think that's good enough for me. So I'm confused because I thought I had them the right way around, but apparently somehow I mixed it up in my head. But that's definitely fine. Definitely functionally the same, let's say. So I just do the same thing with these instead of trying to talk myself through it. It's in an elif? Does it matter if it's in an elif? I don't think so, right? Okay. So the T2 is 10 and now is 50. And those are the same, so let's make T2 90. Okay. DHCP state machine. So if we are in the renewing state, I assume this is just like a while true loop. In fact, it's the same while true loop we were in just a minute ago. In fact, there's like barely anything that got folded. That's kind of weird that it folded it. I guess it's just based on the number of lines though, right? So state, if it's in renewing, it used to say start time is the current time, but now it says lease is none, T1, T2 are both none. And then it says if it's the rebinding state, it also used to have the start time equal to monotonic current time. And then the lease in the T1 equal to none. So one thing that is odd about this to me, nothing ever, so in the new code, there's still a self._T1 and a self._T2. This time, presumably as objects instead of ints, I would assume, since they're changed from 0 to none. They get set to none inside of DSM restart. They used to get set to some numbers right here, but now T1 timeout and T2 timeout get set to some numbers instead, as well as lease timeout. They used to get compared here, but now timeout gets compared instead. They used to not get touched here, but now they get set to none. They used to not get touched here, but now they get set to none. So why do they exist if they're not ever getting set to anything but none? Or is there, could they be getting, they must be getting set somewhere else that's not touched by this code, I guess. I'm going to be in this list. Which file are we in? From the DHCP response, if available. DHCP. So does anything go self.t1 equals, well, this is the current code though. I guess that's fine. Parse DHCP response, okay. I see. Okay, so the new code is making it so that we will parse these values out of the response and then always, you know, keep those, always use those for anything they're used for. Although at this point, are they going to be used for anything? Okay, let's check out the PR one. Let me also, let's switch threads real fast back to this one. So this thing is done now. We tested that. I don't want to forget to circle back. I'm going to go ahead and go .0.0 was the last one. In my mind, this is a middle number because it adds new functionality. The new functionality being you can now declare and have respected a max attempts when you call get local time, which you used to not be able to do. So it's not a new function that didn't exist before, but it's a new argument, at least new to the get local time function. Even though it did exist in connect, it did not exist in get local time. So there's like a distinct thing that used to be possible, that used to not be possible, which now is. Support max attempts arg on get local time. And it looks like there was a README update as well, which never got released before. Okay. Okay. GHPR list. Check out 169. Nope, 169. 169, actually. Okay, so we do still get this here, but like, does anything use it? Okay, we pass it to debug message. Okay, these still use it. So these, okay, these are interesting. These are, so these used to use the old value in order to set the new value. I think I do agree with this person that the way it was done, it's kind of confusing, right? Oh wait, no, they didn't. So they were setting, but they weren't using in order to determine the new value. And then the new way, it's setting the T1 timeout, and it's using the T1 to determine the T1 timeout. So Okay. So these were getting ignored before? Or what? Were these not even getting used? They do now get used to determine the timeout. Where's main? Why is there no main? What is this? How can there not be a main? Main's just not in recents. How's main not in recents? We just used main before I changed to this. What do you mean you've seen it before? It's brand new. Okay, it did get used here. Got used in the main part of the while true loop inside of the state machine. Because it could return early. And T2 as well right there. Okay. So, but then on the new one, that is still the case or no? Okay, and the new one, it uses T1 timeout here and T2 timeout because those got changed. Okay. Okay. I think I'm following. Mainly the thing I can do to test this is just try it out. I do need to grab stuff to do that. What's this? RP2040. So I think actually RP2040 Feather, I think this might have been one that used to not work for me on my network for whatever reason. So maybe this would be a good one to test. And if it still doesn't work, then I'll change to a different one and we won't judge the PR based on it because I don't think it used to work for me. But yeah, maybe that'll fix it. So I need to grab Ethernet thing. Yeah, stuff, BRB. Okay. That cable is plugged in. Your controller is plugged in. Kind of have to run to the restroom again, I think. This is some kind of ISFL thing. Looks like a simple test or something. You know, I guess I could keep it. I don't know. Three 731. I do have to run to the restroom again, so BRB. Okay. Let's get some WizNet simple test. Yeah, we shouldn't really need anything particularly special as far as the test code, because DHCP happens as part of the setup. You know, we're not testing anything really after that, or we didn't change anything really after that, I should say. So the main thing we're trying to test is the setup. It does pull an IP, print it out. It's not printing anything else crazy, it doesn't look like. For the Ethernet featherwing, yes, okay. We should be good to go. Okay. This is definitely plugged in. Yo. We're on 904. I guess we could update. We update? Maybe we should update. Let's update. Did this not paste? Hmm. 9.0. I didn't save that, so it's gone now. Yeah, fine. Hold an IP fine. I guess I don't know when it was calling maintain. Not sure when that gets called actually. Also, I never did update to the new library. It's not maintain DHCP lease. Doesn't seem like it gets used. Only usage. Okay, maybe we should call it. So like if we really need this, what if we print that the first time and then do eth.maintain then print that a second time, if it changes or not? No. And it also got the same as last time too. It is working though, which is cool. I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure this device was like either very hit or miss or not working at all before. Although, I mean, I am on the old version, so must be. First, we got new version of CircuitPython, maybe? That fixed it? Just gonna delete that. We're on fix, okay, copy this. Oops. Paste mode? I feel like I've discovered this before. Still don't really know what it's for. I pressed Control E accidentally. Incompatible MPY file. Maybe ticks. So that must be ticks, right? I must have an MPY version of ticks, which maybe wasn't getting used in the old one. Was doing some stuff with ticks though. That's kind of weird. I don't know why that would have been succeeding before. I probably need to update Connection Manager too. There we go. And it is still on the same, it's still getting the same IP. So it is working, seems to be working the same as it was before in my particular case, and calling that function in between doesn't seem to have any ill effects either way, at least in my particular network with this device and this router and everything. But all that being said, it is also succeeding, which I do think it was a bit hit or miss before. What is update duck? Update duck? Interesting. Updated? UK. Okay. It is succeeding over and over again, which is good, definitely, because I do think that device was not so stable on my network before. And all the logic does make sense to me when I was stepping through it. We will go back and look. One more thing I want to look at in the change is very specifically the introduction of the times 1000s. Because basically part of the problem before was that for relative timeouts to milliseconds, maybe we should double check that. Like, I don't really know anything about DHCP. Just maybe try to check the spec here and make sure those are actually in seconds. I'm in seconds. Renewal time and rebinding time. I vote we call them that instead. They're definitely both in seconds, though. I still don't know too much really why we're getting the divides. But I can see the 1000 is definitely coming in. So lease used to be lease plus start ticks. And now lease timeout, which is what it got turned into, is start ticks and lease times 1000, which is self.lease or 60. So we definitely got the 1000 on lease. For T1, we had adding of start ticks and lease over 2. T1 timeout, we have adding of start tick, T1 or lease over 2, and then we are having times 1000 now. Same way with T2, except it was the difference of the adding of start ticks and lease difference, so minus, so the adding of those minus lease over 8, but no times 1000. New way, the adding of, we did lose a diff. The new way is the adding of the start ticks and E2 or, oh, lease minus. Okay, so our minus moved into there. We had tick stiff there. Now we have or lease minus, lease over 8. Is what we were minusing there as well. Okay. We do still have, we do, not still, but we do now have the times 1000. Get that into milliseconds. Which is definitely what ticks operates on. So yeah, I'd say this is looking good to me. Okay. And this one's I look at as minor number because it didn't functionality changed, but the functionality change is a bug fix. It wasn't ever supposed to behave the way it was before. Whereas the old one, the functionality changes like the API changed. There's a new functionality the developer has access to. Okay. Another thing I want to look at is I have this cloned yet, I'm pretty sure. One of the things I saw earlier today this person reported this from SSD 1322 trying to use display.display, which I think changed to bus display. Yeah. So that's not listed here anymore. So my question becomes, how many display driver libraries still have display.display in it? And a bunch of SSDs even. Whoa. Hmm. Almost there, hopefully. So we know how to do helpers as well. I think helpers is a shorter list. I don't know why it's doing entering at the end of all of this. Hopefully it's the end. Okay. Get for each get submodule for each, let's just say PWD. That's gonna say entering, and then it's gonna print the directory of it. Okay. But really what I want is in here get grep. Can I use this kind? I don't know. Does bash work like this with quotes? Get grep display.display. But that's going to fail after the first one because of the way for each works. I need to do something like that. No. So. No. Yes, I don't have this somewhere. Get submodule for each stops after first one. So basically the problem is when it doesn't find anything, it reports like an error basically, and then it stops the loop. What I need it to do is just go on after the error to the next one, because if we don't find it, then that's fine. We're just trying to find it in the next one. Pipes? Okay, was it pipes? I think pipes is how I used to do it. Maybe though. It's not working. True not found. True is lowercase. Maybe that was not working the whole time because of my true. Maybe one of those other ones worked. Okay. Starting drivers. The OV 2640 and 5640 direct IO, and then also BMP-SD and stop motion need to be updated. Those are actually instantiating a display object, which is odd. More typically, you would see that use a driver. I guess direct IO, I think maybe the whole point of that is skipping the driver. So that's probably what's up there. But I'm pretty sure it would still, I'm pretty sure it's not going to work on the current version of CircuitPython. I think that would need to be bus display. So those are actually just examples that should be fixed, I think. But there are SSD 1322, 1327, 1351, 7735. all of those I'm pretty sure should be updated to bus display for the thing that they extend. I'm very surprised that, like, what is up with the SSDs? And I guess ST. Like, why are how did the rest of these get fixed? What is different about these ones that made them not get fixed at the same time as all the other ones did? And even like these are displays here. IL. How and when did those get fixed? But not these ones. That's weird. I don't know. I mean, it must be a display IO driver because it's using display IO.display. I'm gonna say, are these like the old school, I forgot what they called it. Been off-center this whole time, huh? Frame buffer IO. It can't be though, because they're using display. This one's take a screenshot of a display. That's not code, that's in a comment it looks like, and it should be updated, but it won't break it, obviously, if it's wrong, since it's a comment. Cursor control, those should both be updated as well, but they are also comments, or in this case, doc strings. More doc strings, those should be updated. Tabs layout. Okay, yeah, same thing here. More doc strings. All those should say bus display now. Same thing. Say bus display. I don't think this is the way doc strings work anymore either. PyMeth. That's kind of a weird one. PyMeth. I don't know about that. Simple text. Same thing. Doc strings. Actually, that's not a doc string. Well, I guess it might be, but it's it looks actually more like a yeah, a bunch of these actually. These are probably not doc strings, but actual arguments in actual code. They are the type hints on the actual arguments, so they still shouldn't crash, but actually it might crash if it tries to import it. Depends how the import display, it must be doing import display IO, so it shouldn't crash. Same thing. Okay. So basically, these three SSDs, 1322, 1327, 1351, and then ST7735, those four are the most desperately in need of updates. Those four drivers, I think, won't work on CircuitPython 9. These four examples, I should say, these four examples split over two libraries, OV5640, 2640. Those four examples should be updated. Those won't currently work under CircuitPython 9. And then a bunch of this stuff should also be updated, although this stuff is less critical because it's all doc strings and type annotations, which shouldn't actually change the way the code behaves. I think those are going to be exercises for tomorrow, for me at least. So unless somebody else happens to fix those before I get to it, my plan will be to fix those tomorrow. And I do think I am going to head out for now. So thanks to anyone who watched along. Hope everyone has a good rest of your day, a good rest of your weekend, and all that stuff. I'll be back at the normal time next week. Hopefully, knock on wood again, with a working camera and microphone. Hopefully. All things considered. That doesn't really make any sense though, so I'm not sure why I said it, but yeah, anyway. Thanks for hanging out, and I will catch you I'll catch you next time. Again, Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Central Time. That's the usual time, so I'll be back then. Some nice. Thanks. Join late. Glad you got it working. Yeah, thanks for hanging out for a bit. Some nice. Hope you have a good rest of your day, and for everyone else watching as well, hope you have a good rest of your day and a weekend. I'll see you later.